Hi there, welcome to the Photography Shift. My name's Liz Devonshire. I'm a brand photographer and visibility specialist. I'm really excited to welcome this week's guest. I've been waiting a while to release this interview as it was recorded back in the autumn. And we're going slightly international in flavour as Kamilla Norrman, the adventure coach, is based in Norway. When I spoke to Camilla last year, I finished the interview feeling very light and inspired and motivated about my business and what I might achieve with it if I just put into practice some of the things that Camilla was talking about. So I hope you have those feelings while you're listening to Camilla's interview. Just before we do that, I wanted to let everyone know I've still got a few spaces left in the summer for brand shoots. So please do DM me if you're interested in getting a summer refresh or you're looking for elevating for this autumn. I'd love to help you. So get in touch. And in the meantime, please do listen to what Camilla has to say. Hello there. Thank you for joining Camilla Norman and myself here today at the Visibility Shift. Camilla is the founder of Curious Mindset Coaching based in Norway. So, really excited that we've got a bit of an international feel in our session today. And I'm also really excited that Camilla is here because her business is really fascinating to me. And you're going to hear all about it in a moment. So, before diving into the questions, I'd love it if you could tell me a little bit about your coaching adventures because they sound absolutely awesome. You create them for your clients because you've seen a niche in the market, I expect. But if you could tell me a little bit more, I know that everyone else would be wanting to hear as well about all about them.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And yes, I guess I am a very passionate traveler and have always been into adventures myself. So, actually, one of the biggest shifts for me, and I will sort of talk more about that shortly, but it did bring about this focus on adventures as my shall we say, transformation method. I believe that through the adventure, we can help people transform, boost their confidence, realize that they can do so much more than what they think, and really shed a lot of limiting beliefs just by experiencing new things, because an adventure is really the unknown. That's the adventure. And so it can be something quite small and daily adventures, which I encourage my clients to do just to sort of get that little buzz and experience that sort of dopamine hit. Could be something like saying hello to someone that you keep kind of seeing at the bus stop or a neighbor that you haven't actually spoken to, or something more perhaps experiential, try a new hobby, So that's the sort of small daily micro adventures, you could call them. But then, of course, my big adventures, they all relate to my own experience of volunteering in South Africa and Botswana and this amazing rediscovery of myself. And I felt so strongly that I want to take clients and have that experience and truly enjoy just this reconnection with yourself, with the wild, and tap into the natural transformation that happens when you're somewhere in a very unfamiliar environment. It just sort of lends itself to start to seeing things from a different perspective, to think along different lines. And so it's just like an amazing way of having a brilliant experience and a real adventure, but also come home with something more, something that will bring you sort of a lasting positive impact.
Sounds absolutely amazing. And when you're sort of like, as you're talking, and I'm hearing about, even like the bite-sized adventures you're talking about, I think everyone could do with this. Everyone could do with breaking out of their shells and the norm that we get into these ruts every day. Especially, I think, in business when, many of us wake up, switch on the computer, we might not see anyone all day. I mean, that's why we hang on to networking so much because it's such a nice way to sort of connect with other people. But I really love that. that idea, and I think it's would be really beneficial. That's brilliant. So I'm going to leap into the questions now. And talking of leaping, I'm going to be asking you, what leap of faith did you take to step out of your comfort zone, and into the limelight? And because I can, of the nature of your work, I can see that it's going to be a big leap because you seem fairly confident to me anyway. So
So, the big leap was when I left my 23-year relationship in England. And I had a wonderful relationship over, most of that period. So I'm not someone who is saying that my life wasn't good and now it's great. I did have a really wonderful life, but I got to a point where there was a need for change and I wasn't happy anymore, despite all this, adventurous life that I had had with my ex-partner and all the trips that we had done. And so eventually, after a few years of feeling this quiet frustration and just gradual decline in my own happiness, I realized that I didn't want to linger until I started to not like him anymore and leave anyway, but in a much worse sort of space. And also, out of respect for him. So I left and I went on this journey to Botswana and South Africa. I have always dreamt of being a park ranger. So I got this opportunity to volunteer with a small business, and it was a wonderful experience. And it was something that I chose to do just for me, because my ex-partner had never really been that interested in Africa. So that was kind of where I rediscovered myself, and I realized that, I want to do more. I want to do things that have a deeper meaning. I want to contribute and feel like my life matters. And so I embarked on this coaching journey where I, went through several different qualifications. And now I live in Norway. So I didn't only leave my relationship, I also moved countries. I left a job. I started a business. There was a lot of, shall we say, many leaps of faith almost combined in that one. And yes, it came at a cost, and I'm not going to pretend it was easy, but at the same time, I have gained so much. And I don't think I would have grown into the person I am today if I had stayed, because I don't think there would have been that actual shift into I can be an entrepreneur, I can be a coach, and I can create whatever I want, really. And that is something that has come with my own personal journey that is really invaluable.
yeah, and that's really interesting because I think, people start businesses for like so many different reasons, and they have so many things that inspire them to go into a business. But I can see that it was something that you needed to do for yourself, and I really admire that. And it's always a risk when we do that, but it's obviously paid off, and your business is very successful. And you seem very happy to me. So it's all good. As a photographer, I say this every time. I am going to ask you about um, the photography in your business and how you use it. Um, so how do you use photography to entice your clients to go on your fantastic adventures, and also within your marketing generally? And do you feel brand photography influences who you ultimately get as your ideal client, and why is that? I know it's quite a convoluted question, but
But I think it's a very good question, because I do think that actually through images you can portray a message and convey it in a better way than just written text. And so I try to combine photographs as well as videos, to tell the story of, who am I? What do I do? To share with people so that they hopefully get inspired and interested, and give them also a sense of, what can you do? So it's, I think imagery is incredibly powerful for relaying a message. And when it represents who you are, it becomes even more impactful. And I think with being sort of very much online these days, I think when you share through messages, sorry, through photographs and videos, it's much easier for people to actually get a feel for you. And I haven't gone down the route of sort of doing a professional branding sort of exercise. I know that you did do some photographs of me, which I highly appreciated. And I thought, oh, this is great. It's a completely different vibe. So I am looking at using different types of photographs for different purposes. And I think on my website or when I communicate with corporate clients about team development and leadership development, well, then it lends itself to have completely different messages and different imagery compared to when I'm trying to talk about adventures and being outdoors. So the images that you use are hugely important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as you say, it's a way of connecting with different types of people and whoever you're aiming that kind of particular message at.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really interesting because you're coming from a quite a different um, look at the use of photography from, say, that I would. Um, you're kind of like a consumer in terms of photography rather
Yes.
than somebody who's kind of selling visibility. But it's really interesting. So the last question today, my goodness, it seems to kind of go very quickly, would be what advice would you offer listeners today who want to become more visible to their ideal audience? And if you've got a key piece of advice um, that you'd like to tell people about?
I think I would say visibility should come from within. So it's almost like an inside out approach. Because in today's highly AI dominated world, where you could create any type of image and almost, reproduce yourself and clone yourself, it's so important that it's authentic, and I think people actually search for that authenticity. So if you are going in with what's really important for you, what you're passionate about, then that will come through the messaging. It will come through as an energetic almost vibe. And I think it's really important to feel into that so that you are not trying to be something that doesn't resonate inside your own heart, because it won't land with people if it's not true, So I think lead with the heart.
That's it is really true actually. The authentic side of people soon know if you're not being that. I've just found this, I mean, it's been a short conversation, but I've just found it really inspiring, all the stuff you've been saying. And I'm sure that actually people listening to this will also find it inspiring. And perhaps um, they will take on board perhaps a little change in their life by, even if it's just saying hello to somebody at the bus stop, as you suggest in the beginning. All those little things can make a huge difference. Maybe just changing up an activity that they do, and opening up their heart a little bit to being themselves. So
Yes. Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Kamilla. And I know that everyone's going to be really interested in this because it is slightly a different flip on things. And I've really enjoyed it, actually. I've really enjoyed listening to you talk about what you're obviously so passionate about. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Kamilla, I'll make sure all her details are in the comments, and also um, they will be next to her video as well. If you come onto the website, so you'll be able to contact Kamilla, find out a little bit more about her, or contact her if you're interested in starting an adventure of your own. Okay, all right. So thank you very much, Kamilla, and I will see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Take care.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Liz.
I don't know about you, but I feel so inspired. I'm ready now to go out and find an adventure. Certainly within business, I think there are a lot of adventures to be had. We can reach out to our potential clients or just people we want to collaborate with some confidence and looking forward to the adventures we could have together. Um, so thank you, Camilla. That was really fantastic. And thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget, every Wednesday at noon, I will be interviewing another fantastic female founder. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.